Long ago, during the time when Lord Buddha traveled from village to village spreading the message of peace and compassion, there was a small village surrounded by dense forests. Near this village lived a deadly cobra named Vishakara. The people feared him deeply. Anyone who tried to pass through the forest was bitten by the serpent. Many lives were lost, and soon no one dared to go near that path. One day, as Lord Buddha arrived near the village, the frightened villagers came running to him. They bowed respectfully and said, "O Lord, please do not go through the forest. A dangerous snake lives there. His name is Vishakara. He bites anyone who comes near him." Buddha smiled gently and replied, "Do not fear. No creature is born evil. Even the most venomous being can change when touched by true compassion." With calm steps, he walked toward the forest. The disciples followed him at a distance, trembling with fear. As Buddha sat under a tree in deep meditation, Vishakara slowly slithered toward him, his hood raised high, hissing loudly. The serpent's eyes were filled with rage, yet Buddha remained still, his face glowing with serenity, his eyes full of kindness. When Vishakara came close, Buddha opened his eyes and said softly, "Dear one, why do you live in anger? Why do you harm others? Life is precious, both yours and theirs. If you continue spreading hatred, suffering will always follow you. Try living with love. Try spreading peace." Hearing these gentle words, the venom in Vishakara's heart began to melt. For the first time, someone had spoken to him with compassion, not fear. The snake bowed his head before the enlightened one and said, "O Blessed One, I did not know another way. Teach me the path of peace." Buddha placed his hand near the snake and said, "From this day, promise that you will not harm anyone. But also remember, being kind does not mean being weak. Protect yourself when needed, but never act out of anger." Vishakara promised and lived peacefully. The villagers soon noticed that the forest had become safe again. But over time, some cruel children began to tease the snake, throwing stones at him because he no longer attacked. The snake became injured and weak. When Buddha returned to that place, he saw the suffering serpent and said, "Vishakara, I told you not to harm anyone, but I never said you should not hiss. Show your strength, but do not strike. True compassion includes wisdom." From that day, Vishakara lived wisely, protecting himself without hurting anyone, and thus, through his boundless compassion, the Buddha showed that even the most venomous heart can be transformed, not by fear, not by punishment, but by kindness and understanding. As days passed, Vishakara lived peacefully near the forest, his heart now calm and pure. He no longer struck in anger or spread fear among the villagers. Instead, he spent his days quietly, watching the birds fly, the children laugh, and the wind flow gently through the trees. Yet his wounds still pained him. Sometimes he remembered the cruel stones thrown at him and wondered, why do humans hurt even when one chooses peace? When the Buddha returned to the same forest months later, Vishakara slowly approached him, weak but smiling. Bowing before the enlightened one, he said, "O Lord, I tried to live by your words. I harmed no one, not even when they harmed me. But my kindness made me weak. My body is broken, though my heart is pure." Buddha looked upon him with great tenderness. His calm eyes reflected deep wisdom as he said, "Vishakara, compassion must walk hand in hand with understanding. To live kindly does not mean to let others destroy you. True compassion means to protect life, your own and others. You must learn to balance gentleness with strength. You can hiss to protect yourself, but without hatred. That is the middle path." The snake closed his eyes, feeling the truth of those words flow through his being. The lesson was profound, one that every soul must learn. Peace does not mean surrender, and kindness does not mean weakness. It is the strength to stand firm without cruelty, to speak truth without anger, to love even when misunderstood. When the villagers heard that Vishakara still lived, they came to the forest once again. But this time, they did not find a deadly serpent ready to strike. They saw a calm, graceful being resting peacefully by the Buddha's feet. The children who once threw stones felt ashamed and placed flowers near the snake in silent apology. The forest that was once filled with fear now echoed with harmony. Buddha then turned to his disciples and said, "Just as this snake transformed his heart, so can every human being. Anger, hatred, and violence poison the soul far more than venom poisons the body. But through awareness, patience, and compassion, even the darkest heart can shine with light." As the sun set over the forest, a golden glow spread across the trees. The Buddha slowly rose, his calm presence blessing the land. Vishakara watched him depart, his heart filled with peace. From that day, he guarded the forest not with venom, but with wisdom. The villagers lived without fear, and the name Vishakara became a symbol of transformation, the victory of compassion over cruelty. And so, the Buddha's message continued to echo through time. Hatred never ends by hatred, only by love. This is the eternal law. As time flowed gently like a river, the forest that once echoed with fear now sang with life. Birds built their nests, deer grazed freely, and the villagers began to cross the forest path with smiles instead of trembling hearts. Vishakara, once known as the terror of the woods, had become its silent protector. He guarded the small creatures, kept balance in the forest, and lived by the teachings of the Buddha. Every dawn he would rise from his resting place near the roots of the old banyan tree and meditate in silence. He would close his eyes and recall Buddha's soft, compassionate voice. Be strong, but never strike in anger. Protect, but never destroy. Live not with venom, but with virtue. Those words became his sacred mantra. But even peace is often tested by time. One day, a group of travelers entered the forest carrying goods for trade. When they saw Vishakara resting by the path, their hearts filled with terror. They had heard the stories of his past. "It's the deadly snake! Kill it before it kills us!" one man shouted, raising his stick. Vishakara did not move. He did not hiss. He simply looked at them with calm, golden eyes that reflected no anger, only understanding. At that moment, an old monk passing by saw the scene. Recognizing the serpent, he stepped forward and said, "Do not harm him. This is Vishakara, the guardian of this forest, the disciple of the blessed Buddha himself." The travelers froze in awe. They lowered their sticks and watched as the snake slowly bowed his head in greeting. Realization dawned upon them. This was no monster, but a being transformed by wisdom. Days turned into months, and the story of Vishakara spread to many lands. People spoke of the snake who conquered his venom with virtue, who turned his anger into compassion. Monks would tell children, just as Vishakara changed his heart, so can you change yours. For no one is born pure or impure. It is our actions, guided by awareness, that shape what we become. Meanwhile, far away in another village, the Buddha sat beneath a Bodhi tree surrounded by disciples. When one of them asked, "Lord, can even the most dangerous creature find enlightenment?" Buddha smiled and replied, "Yes, my dear one. The poison of the heart is far deadlier than the poison of the fang. But when compassion enters the heart, it cleanses all venom and reveals the divine light within." That night, under the shining moon, Vishakara felt a deep stillness within him, a peace beyond words. He had not only changed his actions but awakened his soul. No longer the feared serpent, he had become a symbol of transformation, proof that kindness is the greatest strength of all. And thus the forest remained forever blessed, carrying the silent echo of Buddha's eternal truth. Compassion is the only force that can conquer even the deadliest poison. Years passed, and the world slowly changed, but the forest where Vishakara once lived remained sacred. Travelers spoke of a gentle serpent who protected the woods with silent grace. Pilgrims came from faraway lands just to see the place where Buddha's compassion had transformed a venomous heart into a heart of light. The banyan tree beneath which Vishakara meditated grew vast and ancient, its roots like arms embracing the earth. Beneath that tree, the snake lived in calm meditation, his soul free from hatred, his mind filled only with peace. One serene morning, as the golden rays of the sun touched the forest, Vishakara sensed that his journey was near its end. His breath slowed, his heart grew lighter. He looked around. The same forest that once echoed with fear now shimmered with harmony. Birds sang softly, the breeze whispered through the leaves, and sunlight fell upon the ground like blessings from heaven. Vishakara closed his eyes and remembered the Buddha's words. Everything that arises will also pass away, but the truth of love and compassion never dies. At that moment he felt no fear, no attachment, only a deep gratitude for the chance to change, to love, and to live in peace. As he took his final breath, it seemed as though even the forest paused in silence. The winds grew still, the birds stopped singing, and the rays of sunlight gently touched his resting body. The poison that once lived within him had long been transformed into pure light. Vishakara's spirit rose, not as a creature of fear, but as a being of peace, merging with the boundless calm of the universe. Later, when the villagers found the serpent's body lying peacefully beneath the banyan tree, they wept, not out of fear, but out of respect. They built a small shrine there, lighting lamps each night to honor the one who had shown them the true meaning of transformation. They called it Karunasthala, the place of compassion. The monks who visited told the story to every generation, how the venomous Vishakara became the guardian of kindness, how Buddha's gentle words could calm even the fiercest heart. In time, even those who never saw the Buddha or the snake came to believe in their story. It became a reminder to all beings that anger can be tamed, hatred can be healed, and darkness can be turned into light. The story of Vishakara was no longer about a snake. It became the story of every soul struggling to rise above its inner poison. And so, beneath the silent stars and the whispering leaves, the forest remained alive with the spirit of compassion. The lamps at Karunasthala burned through the nights, carrying a single message across the ages. Hatred ends not by hatred, but only through love. Compassion is the light that never dies. Many years passed since Vishakara's gentle soul had merged with eternal peace, yet his story did not end with his final breath. The wind carried his tale from one village to another, and soon the name Vishakara became a symbol, not of fear, but of transformation. Those who once trembled at the mention of his name now spoke it with reverence. The forest that had been cursed by terror became a place of learning and meditation. Monks and seekers began to visit, sitting under the great banyan tree where the serpent had meditated, feeling the stillness that lingered there. They said the air itself seemed alive with serenity, as if the echo of Buddha's compassion still flowed through every rustling leaf. One day, a young boy from a nearby village came to the forest. He had lost his parents and carried within him great anger toward the world. He sat beneath the old banyan, clutching a small stone in his hand, filled with pain and hatred. "Why did the world take everything from me?" he cried. The sound of his sorrow reached an old monk who was meditating nearby. The monk came forward and said softly, "My child, do you know whose tree this is?" The boy shook his head. The monk smiled and began to tell him the story of Vishakara, the venomous serpent who found peace through compassion. The boy listened, tears falling from his eyes. When the monk finished, the child placed the stone on the ground and whispered, "If a snake could change its heart, maybe I can too." That day, a new seed of peace was planted in his soul. The boy later grew up to become a kind teacher who helped others overcome anger and fear, spreading the same lesson he had once received under that tree. Thus, the spirit of Vishakara continued to touch lives, generation after generation. Far away, when Buddha heard of how the forest had become a place of peace, he simply smiled. "The light of compassion," he said, "travels farther than the sound of thunder. Once born, it never dies." His disciples bowed, understanding that true victory is not over others, but over oneself. Seasons changed. The banyan grew broader, its roots deeper. The villagers would gather beneath it every full moon night to light lamps, chanting softly, "May all beings be free from suffering. May all hearts find compassion." Even travelers passing through the forest would pause to bow before the sacred place, feeling a calmness they could not explain. In the quiet rustle of the forest, it was said that Vishakara's spirit still lived, not as a shadow of fear, but as a gentle guardian of peace. His story remained alive, whispering to every soul that walked the earth. No creature is beyond change, no heart beyond healing. When compassion awakens, even venom becomes nectar. As time flowed endlessly, generations came and went, yet the story of Vishakara lived on like a sacred flame passed from heart to heart. The great banyan tree under which the serpent had once meditated stood strong and silent, its roots deep in the earth, its branches touching the sky. It became a living witness to the power of change, a reminder that even the darkest soul can be illuminated by the light of compassion. Travelers from far lands would come, sit beneath its shade, and feel a peace they could not describe. They would leave behind their burdens, anger, and hatred, as if the forest itself whispered, "Let go, forgive, and love." Buddha's disciples, inspired by Vishakara's transformation, carried the message of compassion to every corner of the world. They taught that true strength is not found in violence or power, but in understanding and kindness. They told kings and warriors, "To conquer 1,000 enemies brings no peace, but to conquer your own anger. That is the greatest victory." The story of the serpent who learned to love became a beacon of hope for all beings lost in darkness. Centuries passed, empires rose and fell, but the flame of Buddha's compassion never faded. The forest changed, rivers shifted their paths, new trees grew, yet the essence of peace remained untouched. Villagers still lit lamps at the shrine every evening, their light flickering like small stars beneath the sky. Children listened wide-eyed to the tale of Vishakara and learned that no creature, however feared or broken, was beyond redemption. It became a lesson not just about a snake, but about the human heart itself, how easily it fills with venom, and how easily it can be healed with love. And somewhere, in the stillness of the night, when the moon shone softly through the trees, people said they could feel the gentle presence of Vishakara, not as a serpent of fear, but as a guardian of peace. His spirit lingered in the wind, in the songs of the birds, and in the quiet hearts of those who chose compassion over cruelty. Thus, the tale came full circle, from fear to forgiveness, from darkness to enlightenment. It reminded the world that the truest teaching of the Buddha was not found in grand temples or scriptures, but in the simple act of loving all beings equally. Compassion, he said, is not a word, it is a way of living. It is the bridge that connects every heart, the cure for every wound, and the light that shines even in the deepest night. And so, as the stars watched over the silent forest, the story of Vishakara lived forever, whispering through time the Buddha's eternal truth. Even the most poisonous being can become pure when touched by love. Compassion is the path to enlightenment, the flame that never dies.